I love a good classic kart racing game, whether it be Crash Team Racing, Diddy Kong, or Mario Kart. They always end up making for a great time. And there's a brand new PS4 kart racer that takes inspiration from those classic kart games. It's called Bears Can't Drift. But does this game end up speeding to the finish line, or does it end up crashing and burning? Bears Can't Drift is a new kart racer with a lot of inspiration from the old Crash Team Racing and Diddy Kong, where it actually is about a hub world that you get to explore and enter the levels via that, instead of just using a menu and selecting what level you would like to complete. The game features multiple different kinds of bears and lots of various collectible hats that you can have on your bear's head while they're racing around on the various different tracks. While unfortunately there is no story mode, which is one of the biggest gripes I end up having with the game, there are 3 different areas to explore. You have the ruins, which kind of works as a Chinese themed level. You have the forest themed level as well as an ice themed area. Each of these places has 4 different tracks for you to conquer and try to do your best to finish in first. Before jumping into a level though, you'll select your difficulty, and this is actually one of the things I really liked about the game, was when you start off, you'll have 3 paths in front of you. Straight ahead is easy, normal to your left, and hard to your right, represented by a different bear icon, with a baby bear for easy, and a very angry, vicious looking bear for hard. And you actually drive down that path, then into the same center hub, and that's what dictates what difficulty you're playing on. Once you get into the mechanical hub world, you'll then pick which of the 3 areas you want to tackle first, and what's cool is you can do them in any order, though forest is kind of the introductory, easier levels, with the Arctic kind of being the in-between, and then the ruins being the harder and longer stages to mess with. Once you're in one of the hubs, you'll then look for the various gates that represent the 4 levels for that particular world. When you press square though, you'll actually select one of 3 different game modes before entering into a track. You have a time trial mode where of course you're going to be competing for the best lap, and what's great about it is you only have to do 1 lap in order for your time to count, and you can actually reset your lap at any point by pressing X, going right back to start in case you screw up during the middle of it, and your goal is of course to try to beat the already defaultly set in-game leaderboard. You then have the typical kart race with 3 laps on the track, 9 other opponents besides yourself on the racetrack, and you have multiple weapons to try to pick up and then use against your opponents. Each of these are represented by a different animal. You have the fish, which represent the rockets. Each weapon actually can also be upgraded, so grabbing 2 fish icons back to back will allow you to get a homing rocket. You'll have the turbo ability from the owl, a chameleon ability which works as a shield, and then you have a beehive which can kind of be dropped like a mine. The third and final mode is a free-for-all food fest. Basically, you start off the race with all your opponents on the track as well, and you're all competing and racing in kind of a more open race. There's no laps or anything like that. You can move anywhere you want on that particular racetrack, but your goal is to gather food. Every time you grab an item of food, it will fill up the meter at the bottom, and whoever fills their meter up first ends up being the winner. But you can use the weapons, just like you can in the normal kart race, in order to hit your opponents, and they end up dropping all the various food that they ended up picking up. So you can really do some damage. So even if you're losing by quite a lot, hit them with a rocket and you may be able to pick up all their food and instantly jump into the top spot. Probably my least favorite of the 3 available styles of mode here, but it's definitely a cool addition. While there is no real direction or story to kind of point you where you should go, or really objectives to complete of any kind, your goal is kind of to get the gold star or first place in both styles of the race and free-for-all, as well as try to get #1 time on the time trial. There's a total of 12 tracks, and playing the game through on the normal difficulty, doing both the free-for-all as well as the normal race, took me about an hour and a half to 2 hours. One of the things that makes a kart racer more enjoyable though is of course multiplayer, and this game supports up to 4-player split-screen multiplayer, and all 4 of you can actually roam around the hub world if you want to, and when you enter into a hub area or enter into a racetrack, everyone will be transported into that. The only issue with it is it's only local multiplayer, same system, no online multiplayer whatsoever, which is going to be one of the things that really ends up hurting this game in the long run. The game does use the Unreal Engine, so everything actually looks really good. I like the graphical styling, kind of has a cell shading to a degree, a little cartoony of a look, and I think it ends up working really well, and one of the better indie kart racing games I've seen on the market. The game does have some problems though. While it didn't really slow down and it didn't crash on me, there were some glitches here and there, including one time during the food free-for-all where what place I was in never updated. Even though I was grabbing food, I actually finished it and won it and went from 9th to 1st by picking up the last object. And I know for a fact that none of the other opponents have picked up that much food, because you actually get to see your bear grow during the food fest. The more food you pick up, they kind of make you a bigger target for those trying to take you out. And none of them had grown at all, so it must have just been a minor glitch that ended up happening. There's also some hit detection issues overall when it comes to some of the walls. There were some invisible walls and some questionable bumping when I ended up making certain turns. Drifting using the carts actually is pretty cool and ends up working rather well as you're trying to make some tight turns and maneuver around some areas. So overall though, I did actually really enjoy the core kart racing that was there with Bears Can't Drift. Bears Can't Drift ended up having a one-man development team, and for that alone, there is quite a lot that is great about the game, but I honestly just wish there was a bit more. The online and the story mode, having one or the other, would have definitely boosted my overall enjoyment of the game in the long run. The game is available for $12.99, which is a bit much for what I ended up getting out of it as far as my normal playthrough, but I still need to go back and find some of the hidden hats, as well as complete the game on the harder difficulty. The game thankfully does have a full PlayStation trophy list, including a Platinum trophy for trophy hunters out there. In the end though, the game has bears in go-karts. It's something that I would have absolutely gone insane for when I was a kid, and I have to say I still love because bears are my favorite animal, so I'm being a little bit biased when it comes to that alone. But I will be giving the game a 6 out of 10. If you can get some friends together, there can definitely be some fun had. And make sure you don't play on easy, because honestly the AI is so bad on easy, you'll just get bored before you end up completing even half of the race tracks included. But anyway guys, that will wrap up this review. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course I hope you enjoyed.